I'm so excited to show you guys all of my knitting projects today. I have my Caitlin Hunter Zweig sweater on, and I've started my Ramblin Woman sweater as well. And then I have some a new design that I want to show you guys too. So I can't wait to get started. All right, so let's start with what I am wearing. This is by Caitlin Hunter of Boylandknitworks, and I think it's pronounced Zweig or Zweig, something like that. Z-W, I think I-E-G. I'll put it up and put a link below. Now her pattern calls for, it's a top-down yoked sweater in a fingering weight yarn. And hers calls for a different color for this big lace section, and it does a little bit of color work before and after the lace. But I thought I'd wear a solid color more at the time. I wasn't really into a lot of color variety, I guess. I'm still definitely more into neutrals, but I just thought I would be more wearable if it was one solid color. But I really liked this lace panel here at the top. I made it out of a merino yarn that I purchased at the Montpelier Fiber Festival here in Virginia, and the wool is actually an Australian sheep wool. The lady at the booth said it was very similar to merino, and they hand dyed it. She said it's a less expensive version of a merino wool that you would get here in the States, I guess. I don't know, but I like it. It turned out nice. It's kind of a tonal yarn, and you can kind of see some striping here on my sleeve. I made, what size was this? I think this is a size small. And if I did it over again, I might make the next size up, because it's not quite as roomy as I might like it. I mean, it fits fairly nice, but it's not quite as big and roomy as another sweater I made of hers, the Sunset Highway, and I probably wear that one more because it's baggier. And like the sleeves here I made kind of tight, and I mean there's some stretch to them and all, but it's just not quite as like cozy. So I wear this more when I want to feel maybe a little more dressed up. So like I said, it has lace across here. That's really pretty. And then it has texture across the body and the sleeves. It's like a, sort of like a little mini cable or just a twisted stitch pattern. I did not alternate skeins. I know some people alternate skeins when they do a tonal hand-dyed yarn because they worry about pooling. I did not do that, and it stripes a bit, but I don't think it doesn't really pool. So I like how it turned out. Love this sweater. And I think that's all I have to say about the Zweig sweater. The next thing I will show you, how about a work in progress, and this is of my own design. Okay, if you remember a little bit ago, I showed you guys the Malabrigo yarn that I got when I went to the beach as my souvenir. It's these two, and I've obviously caked them up now. So we have the speckled one, I believe it's called Piano, and these are 100% wool merino by Malabrigo, and they're singles. They're not plied yarns. So if you aren't sure what that means, it's there's only like one twisted yarn. I don't know if you'll be able to see it at all. As opposed to multiple strands in there. It's just one strand. It's supposed to make a nice drapey shawl. So this one is a very deep blue. It had a lot number. It didn't have a color name. And this one was named Piano. Okay. And so I started a shawl. And because I got these at the beach, and they are my souvenir yarns, I wanted to make a shawl that reminded me of that. And so I'm making what I'm calling the wave shawl. And I started with that piano one in a garter stitch at the corner here. And I'm increasing along one side. And it's just garter stitch. And then I bought at my local yarn store, which is called Untangled Purls. I bought Rowan Kid Silk Haze, which is a mohair. So it's 25 grams, which is about 230 yards. And it's super kid mohair is what it says. So this is what I have left of it at the moment. And you see how fuzzy it is and cloud-like and soft. So I went from the Malabrigo into the Kid Silk Haze, the mohair. And I did a little bit of a pattern here. If you can see the little eyelets. And you can tell it's almost see-through. Well, it is kind of see-through. So my idea is that this is kind of a wave, and this is like the foamy part of the ocean, the foamy part of the wave as the wave is breaking. I have visions of attempting to take pictures of this by throwing it up in the air and seeing if I can get it to do like a catch it in action. We'll see how that turns out. So even though it'll get somewhat wide, because of the mohair, it'll still squish up so it won't be very bulky. Plus this is fingering weight, so that's not super bulky anyways. So it's going to keep getting wider. And then my next section is actually going to be brioche with these two colors. And then after that, it's just going to be this. This I want to represent like the deep ocean. The deep, calm ocean. So that's my vision. So far, I'm really loving how it's turning out. And I can't wait to get to my next section, which is that brioche section. And it's a pretty relaxing knit. I mean, this is just garter. So that's really easy. And I just love the color. Love this color. And then this, you have to pay attention a little bit because of the eyelets. And then also I changed the way the rate at which it was increasing. So it's not going to be a right triangle. It's going to be a bit of an asymmetric thing going on. So it wouldn't get super huge at one end. And it'd be a little easier to tie. So that's that. I think I'm going to call it the wave shawl or something similar to that. We'll see. But I'm loving this. This is so much fun. My other work in progress goes along with the Caitlin Hunter Boylandknitworks theme. And it's her Ramblin Woman cardigan. Last video I put up, I had done a swatch with my acrylic yarn that I got from my mom from the thrift store that she got. And I had done a swatch and I steeked it and I put that up on YouTube here. So these are the 4 colors. And the steeking went well, as you guys saw, and I decided that I was pretty confident going forward with the whole sweater in it. And I just like the colors a lot. So I purchased the pattern and I started knitting. And, you know, it is somewhat true about what they say about color work being addictive, because you just kind of want to get to the next section. So it's exciting. So here's what I have so far. It's a little bit difficult to show because it's not on a cord that's huge. But this here in the front is the steeking section here, which I really like that. I'm thinking a sweater like this would be really cool. Like a whole sweater with that kind of pattern going on. I think that would be really neat. Anyways, so that's the part I will cut when it's time to cut it. And like I did in my video, I'm gonna put a piece of fabric on the back so it doesn't get caught in my sewing machine. And then I'm going to sew along the left and right sides of this steeking panel. And then I'm going to cut it down the middle, and then I'm going to wrap that fabric around so they don't have a raw edge. That is my plan. I think it will work. And let me see if I can show you these flowers and how they're coming out. I wasn't sure how I was going to work with my yarn because I have 4 colors and the pattern calls for 7. So I'm having to modify and substitute as I go. But so far I'm loving it. I started with that pinky color. I did my dark plum color, the pink one again, plum, and then the cream. And then I mixed kind of this rose color and that lighter pink color in the flowers. See if I can stretch them out a little bit so you can see them. But it's turning out really cute. And I wasn't sure about the flowers either. But I actually really like them. I think they're turning out so cute. My only complaint, I guess you could say with anything, is that in the short rows, so you do a set of short rows to lengthen, see, here's the front. If you see this on either side of the steeking part, you see how much pink is under these little triangle things. And then you do short rows to make the neck and the back come up higher. And so you have a lot more space here, which is fine. But right after your short rows, you do your increase row. And I don't know if it's partly because I have acrylic yarn, but I get a bit of, I guess, visibility here on my increase row and my short row section. So right here you can kind of see it, and on this side I think you might be able to see it even more right there. And then you can kind of see just the whole way around where that increase row is. It's not that big of a deal, and I don't think it will bother me too much when it's all said and done. And when I'm wearing it, like, nobody's going to be inspecting that and say, oh, there's a little bit of a pucker and it's not super smooth there. So I think it'll be okay. But considering I'm using acrylic yarn instead of wool, I don't think it's going to like flex and adjust quite as easy. I think it is kind of what it is. So if I'm not willing to live with that, then I guess I'd have a problem. But I think it'll be okay. And the color work itself is turning out just fine with acrylic yarn. I really don't see any real difference between this and when I use wool. I mean, I know if I were to use like a non-superwash wool, it would kind of bloom when I blocked it and, you know, fill in any irregularities. But a lot of times I use superwash wool, which doesn't really bloom much anyway. So I don't find it a huge difference between this and like a superwash wool with color work. So overall, I am very happy with it, and I am excited every time I pick it up to do the next row because every row is slightly different than the one before, just about. So it's exciting. I mean, I've only just begun. I have a lot of knitting and color work to go, but I'm just so excited to get it done. I just want to knit on it all the time. And I have kids, so that doesn't work out. And I homeschool my kids, so I don't get to knit nearly as often as I'd like. Let's see. Oh, the other thing I did, we went camping recently. So my birthday was just a couple of weeks ago, and I always want to go camping my birthday because it's in October and it's fall, and fall is the best time to go camping. And I love the mountains and camping in the mountains. And so we went, I guess it was this past weekend, to go camping with my family. And I needed, during that, I think I showed you guys the start of this, I finished my daughter's hat that I was making her. It's the Cavo hat by me. Here's the original hat. It has big cables. And this is made out of Knit Picks yarn, swish, worsted. And I don't know what the puff ball is made out of. I forget which yarn. That actually might be just some acrylic I had on hand. So I'll try it on for you. Ta-da! So from this pattern, I knit the small, because this is available in small and large. And I made this one. So the yarn is a Lion brand yarn in a tweed. Forget the name, I'll have to put it up. I bought it at Joann Fabrics. It is 100% acrylic, so I wouldn't necessarily recommend large cables in acrylic yarn because I think it's a little stiffer, but it totally worked and it turned out really cute. And if you guys can see, it has every color of the rainbow in it, in the tweed, on top of a charcoal base. And so I'm gonna put a pom-pom on top, but I could choose any color. So I'm gonna get my daughter, I think she might want blue. And there's a nice light blue speck in here. So it'll be so cute with a colorful pom-pom on top. So like I said, this is the small. It fits my daughter's head as well as mine. She's 8. So this is my middle daughter. I have a boy and then 2 girls. And so I have a 10-year-old boy, an 8-year-old girl, and then a 6-year-old girl. And the little doll that I made a little while ago, that was for my 6-year-old. But this one is for my 8-year-old. So it turned out really cute. She likes it, of course. And it'll be even more adorable with the pom-pom on top. So, bangs and hats. Taking them on and off is not a good idea, huh? But that's a finished object. I'm going to count as a finished object. I even wove in my ends, even though I still have the pom-pom left. I think it'll be so much cuter with the pom-pom. I'll bring it next time if I have the pom-pom done. Let's see. I think this is all I have to show you guys so far. I almost forgot my other work in progress. I am making socks for my 8-year-old daughter. Same one I made the hat for. This is the yarn. This yarn, I have no clue what the fiber content is. It is, let's see, might show it better if I shadow it a little bit, I don't know. might be wool, or it might be acrylic, I'm not sure. It's fingering weight yarn, and I had it in a bag of gifted yarn. Somebody gave me like a trash bag full of yarn. The majority of it was acrylic, but there were some gems in there, even some like hand-dyed wool. That was super cool. But this, it has sparkles, and it's fingering weight, and my daughter's used it for something else, so I'm hoping I have enough yarn. I started her a sock, and I am using the Knitmore Girls, I guess it's a pattern or a recipe. It's free on Ravelry. I believe it's on Ravelry. And I think it's from the Knitmore Girls podcast, and it's just a vanilla sock recipe with a heel flap and gusset. I haven't made a lot of socks. They're not necessarily my favorite thing to make. I think my favorite thing is probably garments. I love garment knitting. But these are perfect to put in your bag and just have as a purse knitting in case you ever need it. And being just vanilla socks, there's not a whole lot of thought into most of it. So it's just, you can pick it up if you're out and just knit a row or two and shove it back in your purse. So I can totally see the benefit in the why people like sock knitting so much. And for my birthday, I got High Sharp Magic Loop knitting needles. It's a set of 4, I think 0 through size 3 maybe? That makes sense. Something like that. Or they might have half sizes in there. Anyways, it's 4 sock needle magic loop sets. High Sharps, so they're sharp. Which I like. I like the High Sharps. And I have gotten down to, done the heel flap. And this one, I think on the pattern, it calls for doing a heel flap, and it looks kind of like little ridges. I think it's called Eye of Partridge. So I alternated, so it's a little more like, looks a little more bumpy, I guess, as opposed to like ridges. Because I just want to do something different. And then I'm working on, so I turned the heel, and now I'm working on reducing the stitches here so that they're even again. So I'm working on this side part. I guess that's the gusset. I don't know. I'm not a super experienced sock knitter. But she's excited to get them, and I hope all the sparkles are showing up on the screen because they're very sparkly and cute. She will like them. I love this age with my kids because they just like everything I make them. So anyways, that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you for watching, and I can't wait to show you more, and I can't wait to show you my progress as I continue my Ramblin Woman sweater. And also that wave shawl. I'm excited about both of those projects. So hopefully I will record again soon. Bye.